being diagnosed with a brain tumor and miraculously surviving through radiation and surgeries, and later on in life losing her mother, has not slowed down model and social media influencer Victoria Vesce. I talked one-on-one with her about her story for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Victoria Vesce, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
I'm happy to be here. How are you doing?
Doing great, actually. I know that obviously you are now based in Miami, Florida. You're a graduate of North Carolina State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Media Communications, and has obviously obtained your GD from the Charleston School of Law, which is right down the street here. You currently work with Berman Law Group in South Florida, and as of right now, which is you're making a lot of news about, you continue to model and grow your social media platform. And I know that you are a signed model with JL Model Management in Maryland's agency. And in fact, you are a finalist for, obviously the cover of Sports Illustrated with their swimsuit edition. Let me ask you this. How would you, because obviously you went to school for this communications and journalism, how would you write a headline about your life right now?
Ooh, a headline. Probably like Victoria making moves. I'm always on the move. I feel like a lot of my friends don't know where I'm at sometimes, and I'm just trying to make big moves and big changes in my life to keep pursuing my dreams.
What exactly are your dreams?
Well, I really just want to create a brand around myself and who I am, whether that entails law and fashion and maybe even some real estate, but just kind of growing myself into maybe even a household name where people are like, oh, if I think of law or real estate or anything lifestyle, travel, they'll think of my name.
Who was Victoria Vesce prior to being a model, working in law, and obviously now being a model?
Yeah, well, pre-law school, pre-everything, I was an NBA dancer for the Charlotte Hornets, and I did that from 2014 to 2017. And then during that last leg of that 2017 season, I got diagnosed with a rare brain and neck tumor. So I, was living my best life as a youngster, I guess you could say, and then 23 got hit with something super traumatic, which changed my perspective on everything. So since then, and since becoming who I am now, it's been a journey.
What is your best life right now, Victoria?
I think my best life is that I'm a lot more grounded and I'm a lot more focused in what I want, and I have a plan to attack and achieve my goals way better than I used to. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Victoria making moves, I'm always on the go. I'm always in the search of the next thing. I don't waste any moments, and I think that's super important. That's something I kind of learned after my experience with my brain tumor, is that I'm not wasting a moment. I'm not wasting a breath. I'm taking advantage of this life and utilizing it to the fullest.
Who is Victoria Vesce in those moments?
In the moments of making the moves, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Exactly right.
Well, I feel like who I am is I'm a woman who's strong in my faith, and I came, I was raised right, and I'm really blessed to have an amazing family and amazing support system. And so growing up and being surrounded by love, and even humility at times, especially when you get shocked with something as traumatic as I have, I've come to grow and blossom as a woman who has kindness and has grace, humility, but still knows her worth.
What is your worth after all of those trials and tribulations in your life? Because I know, unfortunately, your mom passed right after you were diagnosed with your brain tumor.
Yeah, a lot of things have been hit in the past several years that could take a lot of people down. I mean, whether it's a lot of people die from the form of brain tumor I had, and I'm lucky to still be here and still be alive. And what makes me whole is that my heart's still beating. I still have a purpose, and that's what my worth is. I think everyone needs to realize, if your heart is still beating, you still have a purpose in this world, in this universe. That should be your worth. You're still here, you're still alive. That's a precious blessing in itself.
Yes, indeed. Well, okay, What was in your mind mentally about your purpose prior to obviously receiving this devastating news about your brain tumor?
I feel like prior to all of that, I didn't really have a sense of direction. I didn't really know where I was going. I was just kind of going with the flow. And if someone would be like, hey, you shouldn't do that, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say I wasn't happy, but I wasn't who I fully was and wasn't reaching my fullest potential. And unfortunately for me, it took a dark moment, a dark turn in my life to really realize, like, I want to be happy for me, and I want to reach that potential that I have and that I know I have and that I've been putting to the side for so long and put it in the closet. And I mean, fortunately for some, like, you don't have to go through those dark turns, but like I said, for me, it was that moment and that period when I got hit with everything, and then I was able to recover from it. I'm like, it's time to buck up and reach that fullest potential that I know I have inside of me.
What exactly is inside that closet when it comes to your full potential?
I feel like it's a lot of things, and I feel like that is for the world, not for the world to see just yet. I think it's for me to reveal each moment.
And how will you go about revealing that each moment?
Well, like, even with becoming a Sports Illustrated finalist, and I'm in the issue.
Yes.
Well, I got it like sitting right here next to me. I just think like that. Not a lot of people knew I did that, and I just think there's a lot of behind the scenes work that takes place that not a lot of people see. They see a lot of the glamorous sides of everything when you post on social media, but you don't know the hard work and dedication that takes behind the scenes. And I feel like every moment, every hour of every day, I have something going on that's going to help me pursue my goal of like achieving the Victoria Vesce brand.
And what's helping you right now to achieve what do you want in that particular brand?
I've kind of I've kind of started a team behind me. Like, I have like an assistant now. I got some interns. Like, I have people who help me with content. I'm surrounding my friends who help me align with my dreams and help me push towards my dreams. Just kind of surrounding myself with good people, building a team that I know will help me and has my back, no matter what. And then I'm a true believer in manifesting and doing words of affirmation. So it's something I like think of and cognizant every morning of my life is to make sure I'm affirming with myself and being my number one fan at the end of the day.
What type of content on social media actually aligns with your dreams?
I mean, there's a lot. Like, I don't necessarily think for me as my brand, it doesn't really go down one path. And this is something I preach a lot on my social media. Like, you don't have to choose. Like, I know some people have a niche, but I'm a strong believer that you can fit in all niches if you want to. You just got to make sure you're doing it right. So whether, my social media can range from travel to food to, swimsuit modeling to everything. I want to make sure I'm well diverse, and I can, if someone asks me to do like a beauty vlog, I can do that as well. I don't want to box myself in. I want to be able to do anything that I want to do.
And how do you actually fit into those niches?
I mean, you kind of develop a presence, make sure you're creating content that's of high quality. Whether it's a travel blog, you want to make sure you're like doing maybe a couple cool transitions of showcasing a hotel, or making sure you showcase a food the right way for a restaurant. It varies for each different topic and genre, but I just think overall the quality just has to be consistently high.
And how high do you want to take that quality next with your content?
Well, I live in 4K vision over here, so I'm going to keep it that way. It's going to be high. You can see it on high def. You'll probably be able to see that board somewhere in there. So I'm going to keep my vision high. There's a quote, and I even posted on my Instagram caption, that little girls with big dreams are women with vision, and that's how I live my life. I was a little kid growing up in a small town who had huge dreams that were outside the fences of the farmland that I lived on, and I really have been making my mark in this world, and I just want to continue doing that.
What are those current dreams that you have are really outside of your fences?
Well, I mean, Sports Illustrated was one. Like, that was
Wow.
huge. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of people from my hometown that gets in a magazine, no less one that Kim Kardashian's on the cover of in this edition. So, um, dreams like that are big. Like, just that's a huge check off my bucket list. And there's plenty more.
Plenty more.
Yeah, I have more. I just don't. I affirm my dreams myself, and I put them out in the airwaves. And like I said, I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes work, and hopefully that manifests. One, I will say, so I can manifest it in some certain way, is that I'm working on a TV show about myself and my
Wow.
family. So yeah, stuff like that. Just keep going bigger and bigger and bigger until you land among the stars somehow.
And who is Victoria Vesce behind the scenes trying to manifest these dreams?
Yeah, Victoria's very versatile. I mean, Victoria can stay up late at night and be super social, or she can just be a homebody, just grinding away at work. But I'm super headstrong, I guess you can say, and super diligent and focused when it comes to really curating, whether it's content or coming up with ideas for what's next in my life. And then I think it's extremely important behind the scenes. I do so much networking that it's probably a little overwhelming for some. And some of my friends are like, when do you sleep? Because I'm always out and about. But I just think networking, and people kind of push it to the side. Oh, okay, we can go to one networking event a month. No, I'm going to a networking, some sort of event every single day to meet people. And I think it's really important to establish those connections. And that's something I preach to, like, even college kids, high school kids, even people in law school. They're like, how did you get where you are at so quickly? Because that takes time. And I'm like, I just pursued networking very heavily, and just let people to know, like me, and that I'm a genuine person and I'm a hard worker. So I think number one behind the scenes would have to be like networking nonstop.
Which time, Victoria, did you give yourself to establish these particular connections with your networking capabilities?
I mean, so pre-brain tumor, even going through the whole process, I like to always do everything pre and post brain tumor, because it was just two different versions of myself. I mean, I was definitely a little social butterfly, but I was very shy, and I wasn't, I don't want to say I wasn't confident, but I wasn't my number one fan, I guess you could say. I still had a lot of kinks to work through. And then after I went through everything I went through and saw how resilient my body was, and that, hey, you know what? If you're not gonna love yourself, no one else will. Then I really changed my perspective. And sometimes, like, I don't want to go up to someone and talk to them because I'm gonna get a little nervous, and that's like just inherently me. But I like push myself outside, like beyond my horizons that I knew growing up, and just like, hey, nice to meet you, and just started talking and asking people about their life. And I think when you genuinely care about people, and I really do, I genuinely care. I want to know everyone's story, because I think everyone has an amazing story, and get to know them. That's when you establish connections that are lifelong friends. And I just moved to Florida not even 5 months ago, and I've already made some incredible connections that some people haven't made in years, just because I've really pushed myself to get to know people genuinely.
How were you resilient during your entire, brain tumor situation?
There was a lot that went into it, honestly. I mean, I had the brain surgery and the neck tumor surgery. Ooh. And then went through over 30 rounds of radiation. Maybe it was 33, somewhere in there. Just to go through any of that, your body's got to be tough. And I mean, I thought I was tough before, but going through that, I was like, okay, Victoria, you actually are really tough. Yes. I mean, I honestly had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to go to the bathroom again. Like, it was like little things that you would take for granted every day. It was hard, and I had to relearn that as a 24-year-old to do all that, to bathe myself. Like, my mom was my caretaker during that time, because I couldn't even get out of bed without falling over. And just that mind over body experience that I had, that I really had to like focus my mind one step. Literally, I would every day when I was able to finally stand up, I would take one step at a time on the staircase till I reached the top, and then I was able to go up and down. And that's like I literally taught myself to rewalk again in like 6 weeks. So.
And you talk obviously about the mind over body mindset. When did that become a reality for you?
I mean, during that whole brain tumor process. I mean, really, because I mean, my mom would preach it all the time, like mind over matter, like all that stuff, and it all starts between your ears. Like if you don't have that forethought and if you don't have that motivation in your head to really do something, you're never going to do it. If you constantly tell yourself something negative about yourself, it's going to show on the outside. So once you start between your ears, really believing in yourself and pushing yourself mentally before you even take the first step is what is going to take you to the next level. And that, I mean, for me, that helped me walk again during that time and helped me like just become back to I want to say actually back to Victoria, but Victoria 2.0.
Yes. And this is a redundant question, but how did you push yourself mentally?
Push myself mentally? Well, during the health crisis of my life, I mean, I that was a struggle with my health, and then overcoming. Well, I'm still in the grieving process, and just continuing to know that, hey, I'm still, like I said earlier, like I'm still here, I'm still breathing, my heart's still beating, I got a purpose. Yes. And like I don't want my mom's death to go in vain if I could stop living too. So she, you know, gave me so much life, and I'm going to continue to give myself life and give back the love and the light that she gave to me to others. And that's like been my like mission since she passed, and then since kind of going through everything and opening my eyes that I was given a second chance at life. And my mom was like there for me through everything, and she was my biggest motivator, my biggest supporter, and she really saw my potential before I saw it. So if I just give up on that purpose and give up on everything that she worked so hard to instill in me, this life would be, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
And I hate to talk about this so much, but what did your mother's death unfortunately open your eyes to?
I think before, like, I think I was still struggling with a little bit of like self-love. There's probably still a lot of self-deprecation, still a lot of trauma to go through with even the brain tumor. I mean, it wasn't an easy process. It was an upheaval of my life. And then I see, you know, my mom's health declining and very quickly and rapidly. And all of a sudden I realized life was short, but now I truly realized life was short and truly understood how precious life was when you're sitting in a hospital room every day watching your mom slowly pass away. And I like sat there and I would pray, and I'd be like, what do I need to do to change? I feel like I'm meant for so much more still, and I'm not there yet. And I think I've accomplished more in the past 5 months than I probably have 28 years of my life. Honestly, I've really been pushing myself more than ever, and that's not just in honor of my mom. That's just because I know I see now the potential my mom saw in me.
Yeah. If you could write a letter to your mom right now, what would it be?
I'd just be like, hey mom, I know you got the best seat in the house right now, watching all the crazy stuff I'm doing, but I hope you're proud, and I feel you're proud, and I feel you're with me every day, and I love you, and I miss you, and my dog misses her too.
That's amazing. Well, what is one thing that you're doing right now that your mom basically pushed you to do prior to her passing?
I mean, God, there's a lot, but like I said earlier, just like seeing my fullest potential, and really just being like, I see my worth, and we kind of touched on that earlier, like what is your worth? And I say, you know, you got a heartbeat, you got a purpose. And another thing was that my mom always saw me as like, you know, sometimes I would cower myself down when, for other people. And I just, because you think like, oh, you don't want to be cocky, but that's not true. Like, you got to make sure you show all your full feathers, all your peacock feathers out there. It doesn't matter, what the other person's feathers look like. Just make sure you let your light shine just as bright as everyone else. Because if you can't hold your candle and hold your light, there's no way you can help light someone else's candle as well. So I think that's one thing I've really like learned, and that she was always like trying to be like, hey, stand up straight, like be like bold, like walk into the room and be like, make your presence known. Like, I'm starting to do that like now. Every time I walk into a room, I make sure everybody knows me, not to be like cocky and not to be like stuck up, but to be like, hi, my name's Victoria, what's your name, where are you from?
Yes.
Like, making sure everyone feels welcome and like comfortable around me, and then that they like me, and then they invite me back for more, and then somehow business opportunities arise. I think it's just kind of a snowball effect of things happening, and that I've never really done before, and that I started doing, and my mom saw that in me as a kid.
Yes. And how do you hope to let your light shine in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think I just continue what I'm doing and do it even more. Like I said, meeting as many people as possible, going through my bucket list, making sure I start putting timelines on goals. And I know a lot of people don't believe in that. And I mean, not necessarily you don't want to encapsulate yourself in a timeline, but it's good to be like, hey, 6 months from now, I want a TV show. I want this to be manifested. I think it's good that you start putting dates on your goals. So little things like that. It's how I'm having forethought and foresight of my life.
And what are those other goals that you've actually had timelines on?
Well, a TV show is a big manifest of mine. So I'm like, hey, but there's a lot of things like I've put on myself, like by the end of the year. And like, Forbes 30 under 30. There's like a bunch of like kind of like little things in there. Like, I want to, like, before I turn 30, like I got to get in that. Like I got to come up with some creative. I want to hit 1 million followers, like stuff like that. I even had like I wrote down, I always try to make a vision board. My mom was so big into that. And I always rolled my eyes at this year. I made a vision board, and a lot of the visions are coming true. So it's just, it's really awesome to see things just come to fruition. But I think the first step was really truly believing in myself and, reaching my fullest potential.
And when you saw yourself in Sports Illustrated, where did your mind go to?
Oh my gosh. I kind of teared up a little bit. I actually saw some of the first photos on WFLA in Tampa.
Right.
And then, when the magazine came in the mail and I flipped through it, and I'm like, oh, there I am. Like it was just like kind of overwhelming feeling, tearing up a little bit. Like, wow, I'm here. Like I'm doing things. I'm accomplishing it. Like, and all I had to do was just take a first step in what my mom saw in me and just see that fullest potential.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. What other things do you have potential to do next? Besides modeling, law firm, TV shows?
I mean, I think the world is full of possibilities, and sometimes each day I figure out something new about myself that maybe I've not learned before. And like one thing was like doing a lot more travel and like a lot more travel social media, because I do love to travel, and that's something during the pandemic I wasn't able to do, and trying to reignite that spark and travel again. Little things I found out every day about myself, and I'm like, okay, let's add that to the bucket list or to the goal list or to the vision board.
Yes. When you look at your vision board, which one of those goals really, really describes you as a person?
There's like a lot. I put a lot of quotes on my vision board, and a lot of them are based towards being happy. And I think at the end of the day, I just want to be happy. And I just remember sitting on not sitting, but actually laying on the hospital bed, like so much pain after my surgery, and not understanding what was going on with my body, and couldn't move, couldn't go to the bathroom, I couldn't eat. And I laid there, and I'm like, am I truly happy? And in that moment, I was like, no, I'm not. And I could have died not being happy. So I want to make sure next time I'm laying on that hospital bed that I look back and I'm like, I did everything in this life I wanted to, and I'm happy.
Well, God's best to you, and thank God you're healed and you're healthy and living And good luck to you, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we need all the luck. Everybody else needs all the luck and positive energy that they can get.
Yeah, and a lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria Vesce, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
I appreciate being here, and it was lovely talking to you.
Likewise. God bless.
Thanks.
Thank you.